Welcome back to an all-new episode of the His and Her Money Show with America's #1 money couple. I'm Talent.
And I'm Ty, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between.
Super glad that you guys are here with us for another great episode of the show because we have another great debt-free story to share with you. We're going to be talking with a couple by the name of Shanny and Steve, fellow YouTubers here that you should check out as well. And they share their story of becoming debt-free. It's a great story because it involves cross-country travel and trying to figure out how to start life in a new place, in a new environment, new jobs, new housing. And in the midst of all that, they were also trying to figure out how to become debt-free.
Yes, I absolutely love their story, and you're going to love it as well, too. So, let's check it out.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Shanny. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hey, guys. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you?
We're good. We're happy to have you guys on the show because you guys went through an incredible journey to fight your way to debt freedom. And we know we have a lot of people tuned in who are currently fighting their way to debt freedom. So I'm sure they're all ears and enthusiastic to hear how you guys are able to achieve such an awesome goal. But before we get into that, can you just take a moment and introduce yourselves to our audience and let them know what you're all about?
We are relationship vloggers. We're on YouTube, and what we do is we talk about life, love. We do it in a fun way. We crack some jokes. We basically shed a light on couples and couples' life.
Yes.
Awesome. So let's talk about the debt. You guys had a lot of debt. You've paid it off. Tell our audience a little bit about that debt. What was it? How much it was?
So we had about $23,000 in debt when we got married, right?
Yeah, 23,000.
Some of it was car loans. Some of it was student loans. And we like to call the other thing that we did the stupid thing that we did.
The stupid thing that we did.
Now, you all are going to have to say what that stupid thing was.
The stupid thing we did when we first moved here, we were like, hey, let's go to Vegas for a couple days and just hang out and go to Vegas. And they usually say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, we came home with a $10,000
Timeshare.
$10,000 timeshare.
Timeshare.
We got swindled into buying a $10,000 timeshare. And we called it the stupid thing. Even when we wrote it down, we didn't even call it timeshare anymore. We just called it the stupid thing. As soon as we got it, it was the stupid thing.
So yeah, that was included in our $23,000. And I think when we moved down to California, because we're from New York, we were looking for an apartment. So originally I came with work, and work was paying for my apartment originally, and then we decided to move, so of course we had to pay for our apartment. So when we were looking for the apartment, and apartments down here are so expensive, we were like, how are we going to do this and have this much debt? Like, we have to pay I think we had like $500 a month for our car we were paying.
Right.
Along with like rent for a 1-bedroom apartment, $1,400 down here, right? So,
and that's a cheap.
That's a cheap.
So I think Shanny, she really had the discipline and sort of the focus to say we're getting an apartment under $1,000.
Yeah.
And
I
was
didn't know
like,
how we were gonna do it.
Yeah, I was like, that's not happening. But we found one.
Yeah, and that was really the start of us really saying, okay, so since we found this apartment, this gives us an opportunity to pay down whatever debt we can pay down, right? So that's how it really started. And then we wanted a wedding, right? So we moved in together, and we wanted to have a big wedding. Or I wanted to have a big wedding.
She wanted to have a big wedding.
But then we made the decision that it wasn't appropriate because we didn't want to be we would be paying out of credit card, not out of pocket, right? So we made the decision just to have a small gathering of family and friends. It was really, really small, and not have the wedding, and kind of use some of that money that we would use for the wedding to pay down our debt.
Very interesting. Now, I know from checking you guys out that Shanny is the saver and Steve is the spender. So when it was presented to you, Steve, that you know what? We're going to have to make some changes. We're going to have to make some cuts because we need to get out of debt. Talk about your response.
You know what? I'm not like a spender, like I'm gonna go buy a pair of sneakers or buy a big thing. It's just that when I have money, for some reason, it just goes to weird, like eating out or just to
Or timeshares.
or timeshares. You know? It goes to just random little things that add up, and I'm just not watching it as it falls out of my hands. So, and she's the opposite, where it's like she takes care of it. So, yeah, when she first came to me, I was sort of like, I don't really want to do that. But it took some time and a lot of time, and then even more time. And then I came around after a while to the concept, yeah.
I think it was more so he said, okay, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But he wasn't really serious about it. I think that was more of what it was.
Yeah.
Shanny, there's probably a lot of wives listening that are currently at where you had this grand idea to get your finances in order, but your husband wasn't quite on board yet. How were you able to stay patient and eventually win him over?
Oh, that is such a great question. Patience is really a virtue. I really had to work really hard. I think it's remembering that you're a team and that you don't want to work against each other, right? So I think a lot of the time it was more so, it wasn't that he was spending, it was that he would get himself into situations that were just so frustrating for me. I'll tell you a situation. I have to tell it. I'm sorry.
Come on, share it.
So we were getting really close to being debt free, right? I think was it like $2,000 maybe? And so for some reason, I hadn't been paying down on the debt. I had just been holding on to it for whatever reason. And he was doing Uber. That was one of the things that he was doing to kind of help me to pay down the debt, right? I don't know what happened, but he got the car towed and he got a ticket for $1,000.
Yeah. It was $1,000 citation and a $300-something tow, and I don't know, $1,400. It wasn't even like ethical how they tried to get me, but they got me for $1,400. So that was like threw us back even
double.
more. And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
So that threw us back. And the way I kind of laughed through it a little bit because I felt like it was God. We're big religious people, so I felt like it was God trying to instill patience in me because I can kind of have no patience whatsoever. And I'm just like, why is this happening? And the only thing that I can think of is, you know what, Chantel, we're instilling patience in you because you're gonna have bigger and better things happen to you, and you need to have that patience. And so
thank you, Jesus.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the mindset that you guys had to put yourselves in when you finally both were on the same page and you said, okay, we're going to get this debt paid off. What did you guys have to, did you have to say anything to each other? Did you have to refer back to a scripture or a quote? What was it that kept you guys, on the straight and narrow?
I think our major focus is basically evaluating what your wants are and what your needs are. And it's, I wouldn't say easy for us, but we're both needs-based people, and we don't, buy big things other than the stupid thing. We don't really buy many big things or anything like that. We're not into too many material objects too much. So then we focused on what we need to happen. It's like we make sure that everything that we purchase is something that is not going to affect the number one goal, which is being debt-free. Right. If it gets in the way of that, we're not buying it.
That's good. That's good. So were you all able to use the timeshare at all?
No, we ain't never used it.
You see?
Man.
That's very common. Yeah, that's very common. And that's why I don't like timeshares. He was almost suckered into one time when I don't remember where it was that we were in Florida or something.
I think we were in Florida.
And I mean, this dude straight up had an attitude because he wanted to buy it. And I'm looking at him like that was not the game plan. We were coming in here just to get the tickets or whatnot. and now they're pulling you in. I was just amazed. I mean, he's like, Ty, we can go to Europe. I'm like, don't fall for it.
Seems like a good idea.
Of course it does. They show you the pictures. They showed us pictures and everything. And I'm like, no, I'm not falling for it.
It was so my fault because I was like, Steven, this can save us money.
Right. That's exactly right. Yep, that's how they get people, because you think that it could save you money. And if you're going to be traveling, we travel anyway once a year. So why not, use this? Yeah, it gets you every time. And majority of the time, people, they can't even sell them. They can't get rid of them, no matter how hard they try, so now you just...
You all still have it and haven't used it.
Yeah.
We still have it, and we're trying to get out of it. Of course, we haven't tried as hard, but definitely there's some, like Dave Ramsey, he has some connection with people who are trying to get rid of their timeshare, so we're looking into that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I think that you guys bring up a good point as well, too. There are so many things that we've encountered in our marriage, some stupid stuff, maybe we bought something or whatnot, and now we use them as lessons, so you all are able to use this. Yes, it was a mistake. Yes, a $10,000 mistake, but now you're able to use this as a lesson, moving forward on what not to do. And you can also share it with others, so I always look and say everything happens for a reason. As long as we learn from it, hey, it's okay. It's all right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, it won't happen again. Love it. I love it. So what were some of the strategies that you guys put in place in order to knock off this debt? First off, how long did it take you to pay off $23,000? And then what were some of the strategies that you guys put in place? I know I heard you say Uber and things like that.
How long did it take us?
I think maybe close to 3 years.
Yeah.
Definitely, we could have knocked that out earlier. We weren't always disciplined.
Yeah, we made our mistakes.
But some of the strategies.
I would say one that we go back and forth on, I think, is if you have groceries in the fridge, you don't eat out. Yeah. And vice versa. If you
want to eat out.
If you want to eat out, make sure there's no groceries in the fridge. Yeah. This way you don't have food going stale inside the fridge. And so many times we're throwing stuff out, we're throwing vegetables out, we're throwing fruits out. It's like, man, we shouldn't have gone out just now. We had food, we could have cooked, And there's some times where it's like, I don't really feel like cooking. Well, that has to be a point where you literally can't cook because all you have in the fridge is water. So you go and, that's the time you go out.
Awesome.
Good. I love that.
Yeah, I think that was our major issue. We like to go out to eat. We like to try different things.
That's our thing.
But it's just so expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, another thing too is we got rid of cable. We don't watch. We have a couple shows we watch, so there's no reason to pay $150 a month plus for all these channels we don't even watch. Yeah. So we got Sling TV is one. It's like $30 a month. Mm-hmm. I have the PlayStation, so PlayStation View is like $40 a month, and you get a bunch of channels. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection. You got your Netflix, Hulu. You end up paying maybe $60-$70 a month instead of paying 2 times, almost 3 times that.
Or 30, or nothing, depending on,
You don't need TV.
You don't. I mean, we're so busy, we don't.
Right.
We don't really need TV. I think another strategy that we used was...
Which one?
So when we were paying off this stupid thing that we did, the timeshare, when we got close to the end, I think we had $1,000 left on it. And I'm not sure that I would advise anybody to do this, but the interest on it was like 9%, 10% on it, right? So to kind of cancel out that interest, we had a credit card that we had just started using that had 0 interest for the year, right? So we transferred it over to that credit card, and we were determined to pay, we had to pay that off in that year so that we didn't have the interest on what we were paying for the timeshare. So that was something that we used, but you have to be complete, because after that, the interest is 22%.
Yeah. Right.
So
that gave you the motivation, and to kind of figure it out how we can pay this off as soon as possible because you didn't want that interest rate to kick in.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know what? One thing that I love about our show, and I love how when we interview so many people, everybody, they have different tips
Yeah.
and tricks. And you know what? There's no wrong way or right way.
Just get out of debt.
Just get out of debt, right? And as long as you both are on one accord, you both are okay with it, just do it, So, hey, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Now, you guys talked briefly about some of the obstacles that you had, the stupid thing, the ticket thing. Were there some other obstacles that popped up during this journey? And B, even with the incidents that you shared, talk about how you were able to move on past that, because those things could have stopped you in your tracks, threw you off course, threw you in the wrong direction. But you guys persevered through it, and you guys were still able to accomplish your goal. So talk about how you were able to move on past those.
I think we both are keenly focused on our future and what we want to have in our future, and what we want our future to look like.
Okay.
So we can't be doing things that our future selves wouldn't be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if we want to be wealthy, we can't be doing things that a poor person would be doing, in a sense of getting in the mindset of how we would do things like 2-3 years from now. You know what I mean?
Right. I think also getting over the obstacle. For me, I am a very big family person, and seeing my family in New York is very important to me. And one of the reasons why I want to get out of debt is because I don't want to be pigeonholed into this 9-to-5 job, right? So that I can only ask for vacation when I want a vacation. I want to be able to go when I want to go. And so even if we had like an obstacle that stopped us a little bit, I guess what I want to do with my life is greater than that obstacle. And so
Right.
that is really what got us through. And also reading Millionaire Mind once a year
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me.
That book is awesome.
Yeah, I just heard someone else mention that book as well too. So yeah, so you guys read it once a year?
Once a year, huh? Must be pretty good.
Yeah, I get something from it every year. So
Yeah, because as you evolve, you learn new things and you apply things differently as soon as
Yeah.
you read it. Yeah.
That's right. Love that. So can you tell us what do you believe were some of the important factors that help you stay motivated and become debt free? I know I heard you say family was big for you. So you kind of kept that in the forefront. Was there anything else? Were there any big goals or future goals that maybe you guys set, that, kind of kept you guys on the straight and narrow?
I think our goals kind of changed, because I think at first it was like, okay, we wanted to buy a house.
Right. Right.
Now we're looking the investment route of buying homes, because having a house right now for us is not necessary. So we want to invest, we want other people to pay for rent so that we can.
Which is interesting, because your mind changes as you become debt free.
Right.
Because we weren't thinking that way before debt free. We were sort of like, let's just get a house and
Yeah.
let's just have that house. But now it's like, since we're debt free, it's like, we can make some money. Let's go ahead and invest and get into real estate and find
Yeah.
ways to make our money stretch.
Right.
Love it.
Smart. What type of impact did the journey to debt freedom have on your marriage?
If there was anything we fought about, it was about this.
Yeah.
I think other than that, we're pretty good. It's
Right.
just like, this is the only thing we were fighting about. And it took if I'm gonna be really honest, it took for me to understand that she really wanted this really badly, for me to be like, and really concede to like, all right, let's just get this done by any means necessary. You know what I mean? If I have to go take up a second job, if I have to take up a job, that's Uber, whatever it is, just to get this done.
Yeah. I think because he was on board, or at least he was saying he was on board, right?
I'm down.
But like his actions weren't showing so.
Right.
And it was frustrating. It can be very frustrating when one of your partner, your partner, not one of your partners, but
Right. Yeah.
is not on board with what you want to do with that, and man, it's frustrating.
It's that patience.
It's the patience. But I think now, and for me, I think seeing, because he didn't grow up in a family where they had a lot of money,
And
nor did I.
yeah,
And I think just us making that step was, I don't know, the feeling of being able to do what you want. Now, we're not rich or anything, but just not having that extra burden of this extra bill
right, right.
for us was liberating.
Right. And
Yeah.
like I said, your mind just changes. You make different decisions. You walk through the world just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Your head's just a little bit higher, your chest a little bit higher because it's like, oh, I mean, I even have good credit now. That's crazy. Like I didn't have good credit before, but actually a strategy she came up with, or I came up with,
I
but
didn't come up with.
yeah, she
I
came up
probably
with
got it from you guys.
Yeah, right. Right, right. I mean, we put our Netflix and Hulu on a credit card and put my name on it, and credit just rose to the roof. Like, literally, like credit jumped a lot. So, little things like that just builds up your confidence as you go through the world.
Yeah. You know, I think that you bring up a very good point, especially in marriage. You know, I heard you say that you really got on board once you saw that it really meant a lot to your wife. And I think, and that's what marriage is about. You know, sometimes you both may not be on the same page or you both may not necessarily agree. But if something is going to make your spouse feel better or take off less stress, you know, a little bit of stress, then by all means do it. Take one for the team. And so you took one for the team, and now you are definitely reaping the benefits, you know, which I think is amazing. You know, I think that's great. So I want you guys to talk about take us to that moment when you guys paid off that last debt payment.
Paint the picture, Mr. Filmmaker.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a starry night. No, it was we were paying off my student loans because we were paying my student loans throughout slowly because it was a smaller loan.
It was a smaller loan and the interest was like nothing.
I don't know how I got this interest rate, but it was like 1.4 or something crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but it was a really super low interest rate. So we were paying that slowly throughout, and I think it was just we set up a camera. We actually taped it, but we didn't post it online yet. And we just danced like crazy people and sang and did some stupid stuff. But it was a lot of fun just to like have that. Boom! We're free now. As free, you know.
And I think it goes. You didn't even tell the story.
I'm sorry. I just said emotion.
That weekend was actually Memorial Day weekend, and we were supposed to be in Hawaii for. He had a film in the film festival in Hawaii, and we were supposed to go. And I think we chose not to go because we wanted to put that money towards that final payment.
Final payment, yeah.
So it was a lot bigger than just paying that. It was like we sacrificed for this. So
Yeah.
it just felt that much more important to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your story is just full of that, and I think people need to hear that. In order to achieve the ultimate goal, there's going to be sacrifices. Like nobody has ever done anything great in their life without making some sort of sacrifices along the way. So, I mean, for you guys to make that sacrifice and say, you know what, let's put off this trip to Hawaii. I know I got the film, and I mean that's a big deal for a filmmaker to get into a festival and then say, well, let's pump the brakes because we need to get out of debt. I mean, that's no small sacrifice. So, you know, shout out to you guys for being willing to do, like you said earlier, whatever it takes to get it done. So good job to you guys on that. So now that you did it, you made the sacrifice, you made the last payment. How does life feel now that you're debt free compared to when you were still deep in debt?
I mean, it feels like I can do anything, even though we're not rich, even though we're not, you know, it feels like, oh, there's possibility now. Because when you have that albatross, when you have that, like, you know, shackle on you, so to speak, it's you feel like you're slowed down, you feel like the ceiling is lower. But now it's like,
The world is your oyster.
the world's my oyster. You know what I mean? Like I can go ahead and do something, and it's not a mentality of climbing out of debt or trying to get out of the rubble. It's a matter of like building and getting higher and higher and trying. I mean, like the books we have that we think of are Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Millionaire Next Door. We're trying to make some money. So
And not only that, I think also when I was in debt, I was thinking of all the things that I could have had. Like, okay, I can buy, after I'm out of debt, I can buy this, I can buy that. But your mindset completely changes. Like, you don't need those things.
Right.
You're just trying to build something for your future, for your family, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Love that. So, what would you say is the biggest life lesson that you guys learned during this entire process?
For me, I would say it's actually something I heard a long time ago, but I don't know about ignored, but I took it lightly. Is that to always put your partner first and trust in that, and trust that they'll put you first. Because when you have that trust basis, like when you're letting go and just putting all their needs ahead of yours, like, and they're doing the same thing. Now, you can't be doing the only one doing it. Both of you have to be doing that. And when both of you are doing that, it's like, it feels like, I don't know, it feels like you could do anything sort of as a team.
So if there's somebody listening to the show right now who heard your story and got inspired by it, but they're not sure if they can replicate it, if they have what it takes to become debt free, what words of encouragement would you offer to that person?
I would say recognize your needs and wants, set a why as to why you're doing it, know what your future is going to be like, not just want your future or be like, it'd be cool if my future looked like this, but know what your future is going to be and don't let anything get in the way of that. Fight for it as hard as you possibly can. Like you said, by any means necessary. You know what I mean? There's no 1, 2, 3 steps to this. It's just a matter of getting it out and doing the work and be creative.
Right. I think something that I think I would tell them is to not look solely at the people around you and what they're doing, but to try to be better, to try to be bigger, try to be, what's the words I'm looking for?
An individual?
An individual.
Yeah.
Yes, try to be an individual. Don't only, because a lot of people, I would say some people around me would say everybody has debt, right?
Right.
And that's not true. Everybody doesn't have debt.
We don't have debt. Y'all don't have debt.
Right. And you can be something different than that.
Right.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
And it can happen for you. So
Yeah.
keep trying. Even when the going gets tough, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. At one point, you will succeed.
True, very true. So please tell our audience more about your YouTube channel and how they can connect with you.
So you can find us on YouTube. You can find us at Shanny and Steve. We are on Facebook, Shanny and Steve. All of our Twitter, Instagram is at Shanny Steve.
Right. And YouTube is Shanny and Steve, right?
YouTube is Shanny and Steve. We want everything to be Shanny and Steve, but somebody took Shanny and Steve on Instagram. So mad about that.
No, but our videos are basically skits. We try to poke fun at the everyday drama that goes on in relationships, but
Right.
there are things that happen. It's not an individual basis. We all go through these issues, and also, there are Black families who go through these things and who love each other and who find happiness and just contentment with each other.
Yeah,
So,
trying to be a positive example to people who are our age and even younger that we do exist.
Love
Yeah,
that.
they have a really good YouTube channel. We recommend everybody to go and subscribe to Shanny and Steve's channel on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, guys, we truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and share your incredible journey with our audience today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
Really
Thanks.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow, that was great, man. I just love how they came together because
Yeah.
at first Steve was like not really on board with it. Shanny was like, we got to do this, we got to do this. And, eventually he came on board. And once they unified their efforts, man, things just took
Yeah.
off and they became debt free.
That's right. It's very important that that you are on one accord. When you are on one accord, especially with your spouse, you can do so much more together. So I know that a lot of you guys, some of you all have spouses that may not be on board. We have a few resources here on YouTube that you definitely want to check it out on how to get your spouse on board. We will include the links. We'll try to include them on the screen as well as in the description box below. But we're here to help you guys, so we totally understand you can take their story and learn from it as well too. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. We also have a free resource for you to help you get out of debt called 8 Essential Steps to Getting Out of Debt. All you have to do is go to hisandhermoney.com/8 steps. That's the number 8.
Well, guys, that's all for this time. It's been great. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.